What's up, everybody? Today is another day, another donut. I wish. So, we have one Skyline sedan. It's silver. We got another Skyline sedan. That is mine, which is silver. We got another Skyline sedan, which is silver. You see the trend here? However, this one's actually going to be parted out now. This one's going to be built someday. I don't know when, but we're going to do it someday. This one, though, is getting a build. Right now, I am cleaning the engine with one of my favorite things to clean is oven cleaner. And for those who do not understand or care, you can watch this. It's up to you. But if you have dirty aluminum, or just grease that just really likes to stick on there, you've tried it, I've got my little mix-ins and, my concoctions, my potions, my things that work, and some things don't work. However, this is one of those things that, it's a little problem solver. Spray it on there. Do not spray it on there and leave it on there for too long because it will eat. There is acid on or inside of this, but also be very cautious when you're using this because it can really mess with paint. I don't like using it on cars or anything like that. So please only use this on aluminum. For the smaller things, I usually resort to more of a ultrasonic cleaner and degreaser solution, or even water, and that works really well. However, some things like to not, play well with aluminum, and so use with caution because it can destroy some stuff. So here is the first pass with, it was dingy, dirty. I really should take a better video of it. However, it was absolutely disgusting. And this will flash rust, by the way. But for the most part, it still has, lots of gunk and grime still all in it and around it. So, it's not bad for the first pass. But as we will progress on through this is an RB25 non-turbo Neo. One of the neat things about this already is it doesn't have the oil little tree that has the dual water inlet, which is really nice. However, a lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation. This is one of those videos and builds that I'm going to have a lot of correct information going forward with this. The intake ports are smaller. They are physically smaller than the RB25 DET. However, we're bolting a Neo T. We're bolting a Neo RB25 DET intake manifold on it. Just doing a full NAT swap for it. We're using the Cometic RB25 gaskets. It's, it's one of those, we're going to see what works, documented. That way, for further use instructions for, builds later on down the road, we can say what confirms and what is the good and the bad and the ugly when you're doing these NATs. So Mike has got his covers. I'm using my 26 covers. I'm going to go get sent to be powder coated for my 34 build. Or I haven't really decided if I'm going to keep those on there or pull them off and have them powder coated. Or since I've acquired another 26 head, I might go ahead and build another spare 26 for the Safiro, or just use that head for the RB30. Haven't really decided yet. Got a lot of time in for this, so we'll just kind of play it by ear. But this is a 75T block. 5L7 is the head number. And again, always before you start doing anything, make sure it says RB25. I can tell by the casting, but there's a lot of things that are out there that dictate what is and isn't a block. And there's just so many easier ways. RB25, boom. You can just tell. But 75T is a Neo block. So we'll go run this down one more time, get it back in the house. So there's a funny story, and I'll have Mike go over this next time he's up here. But this is an Athlete Silver. I can't remember what the silver this is. This is a KR4. I don't think mine is a KR4, but it's nice to kind of get to build his car first, because it's actually really clean. He had like I said, there's a story behind it. Now, when he comes back up, we'll go over it with him. Got the xenon headlights. It's pretty neat. But there's my girl. There's my other clap sedan. So another part of the build is I have pulled all the LS stuff out of the E350Z. That motor was sold to Elijah. He's got an E36 BMW he's building. Man, it's hot. It is absolutely a blaster out here. Got a bunch of scrap loaded up from Mike's setup. It's freaking hot out here. I wouldn't even want to be out here. I don't even want to be out here, especially with the chrome dome. But so what I'm going to plan on doing is kind of just make, I guess, since I'm going to keep that car and sell and part out the sedan, I'm just going to pull the manual out, rebuild, and replace the shift fork on it. I might go ahead and snag this VQ37 this friend of mine has and kind of do some tomfoolery with it. I don't want to do anything super crazy, so I'll probably keep it NA and just make it basic as I can. Since none of this stuff's selling, I'm just going to go ahead and make it work. So I'm going to go do that. It'll be interesting to kind of have fun with it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and we'll check back in just a second. Okay, so it's cooled off a little bit, kind of restarted the video a little. But so one of the things I want to talk about this lovely machine that I bought from K-Tool is the factory duck head. You know, it does its job. It does the thing. But I want to go ahead and at least address this because, like, it's one of those, it made my life a lot easier when I replaced the duck head on this. This is one of the only things I have found so far to upgrade this machine to where it's better. I always try to make machines better, because who doesn't want to make machines better? If your machine's anything like mine, it's a regular, I think it's a 30 mil head or 30 mil post. So I went and got this duck head off Amazon. It was like 30 bucks. Pretty much reset that wheel with no issues to the actual like brand new tire I put back on it. Was able to reseat the bead. Everything was fine, copacetic. Didn't have any of the issues I had before with the old duck head of reseating this tire over, because it is a reverse mount wheel. So if you're buying this machine, it's literally an 80 or 810. I liked it, and I haven't had really any complaints about the machine aside from also, for the record, it does come with that little bucket that doesn't have anything in it. So I went ahead and bought this from O'Reilly's. It's not the white one. I don't know the difference between the two. For the most part, I've always used Dawn dish detergent, and just in raw form, it just kind of like, went around the inner side of the wheel. It shows it goes both ways. I expected this to kind of have, like, if it ever jammed up, it could reverse. So I reached out, and if there's a way that y'all have seen that it can reverse, let me know. I've dug around the machine a little bit, and I haven't been able to find, any information if it can just reverse on its own. If not, I'm just going to rewire it to where it can whenever it does bind up, or if you hold it in a bound condition. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This will be another video if it's something I have to add on to this machine. But the 810 comes with the bead blaster, which I haven't had to use yet because for the most part I know how to set reverse mount wheels pretty easy. As well as my lovely little Milwaukee dude. If you guys do not have one of these guys, and I can't say this enough, this was my first one. It's a little wonky, so it has seen better days at the track, and it's had its fair share. I've had it reset beads on the Viennas over and over and over, and I'll probably dismount those and kind of go clean up the barrels a little bit better. But again, it's honestly a little nice machine to have. You can get these on slick deals all the time for super cheap, with the batteries or without them. Look at this. Like, this thing had taken a fat lick. Like, it's hard, honestly, it shouldn't even be hard to tell how bad out around this wheel is. Look how bad and mashed up this thing is. But you know what was wild about it? It still held air. It still did its job. It didn't crack. It didn't have any issues. I was able to hit so many track days with this tire, or this wheel right here. And you want to know what? All my wheels have had fat dents in them, including this one right here. Actually, I think it was the other wheel. But anyway, like, you want to see exactly what happens, and if you do have reps, this is your destination for you smacked a curb or hit the wrong thing just the right way. Makes a cool, reel holder for your, for your water hose. Now again, I'm not bashing on, I'm not a person that you have to have it for cool points. I like real wheels because every time I've ever been at the track that I've absolutely decimated a lip, I just beat it back in. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the track and, oh no, I did a nasty dirt drop, or I hit a rumble strip. And we were like, oh man, that sucks, man. I guess you got to go rebuild your wheel. Nah, baby, nah. Like, you probably can't see it the best, but this poor wheel, the wheels on this Zafiro have been beaten worse than a red-headed stepchild. Like, beaten. That's like my worst one, and it is horribly beaten. Granted, they don't hold air for more than like 2 weeks, but they hold air. I've never had to rebuild these, and these are still the factory barrels. And that's just my rant on three-piece wheels. I had to do it, finally had to do it, but we're not sitting here nor there. We are, I got a bunch of cool stuff in today. I got one of the actual hoodies in from, I guess when I first did the design for the new shirts, which now the new shirts have a new design, but they're still sick. I'm actually gonna drop a video in here for it now. But well, this is from our last spring break event from this year. A little late. Yeah, new shirts, one new test shirt hoodie came in today. And that was the video. I mean, I like the design, but I went ahead and moved on to another one, and we're gonna go continue with that one. That launch will be, I think, Friday, because I don't know what the plans are for this weekend. Who knows? I don't know what I'm doing. We just out here freewheeling. But I've actually finally reset the anchors for the lift. So the anchors I had, I didn't mind them. They didn't do the job I was hoping they would do. The lift's fine itself. It did its job. However, when I went to go lift Mike's R34, I was not happy with how it reacted. So again, the thing is, there's not a lot of instructions on these. They're just kind of just like, if you ever set up a lift, you kind of have a rough idea on how to do it. So one of the things I will say that I did actually purchase for this was the 2-part epoxy for concrete. If you have ever installed these, chime in. Granted, I made a minor mistake on the hole diameter. I used, I think it was 1 inch. I measured and went by what somebody said online versus going with my gut. And again, the anchors held, but I didn't like how they reacted. They're supposed to be flush with the concrete, so I went ahead and recessed them a little bit, tightened them to, I think, like 75 foot-pounds, and just make sure I went through, did a little primary lift, and it pulled a little bit, which a lot of times your lifts are going to go ahead and pull just a little bit, so just put a little weight on it. But I went back and I'm starting to pull from the wedge, and again, that was my fault. I think here in a few months, I'm going to probably redo these and move them a little bit further away from where the original holes were and fill them back with concrete. But for right now, I've done what I've done for the most part, and use the 2-part epoxy, which we use at the place I used to work at for sitting in machines. Sometimes you use hydraulic cement. So a lot of those guys were using that 2-part epoxy on multi-million-dollar machines that moved a lot. So I'm gonna go with their route because they were like highly recommended when they were putting these machines in, and so that's a little heads up for that. So there's a few odds and ends that I'm gonna drop in. The head for the machine for the K-Tool, that's in the description. The link for our merch is going to be on the website also. And of course, the link for the machine, or the 2-post lift, as well as the machine I got, and the anchors, as well as the epoxy and the epoxy gun. Usually you only need 1 tube for all of it, but so far I can't complain on this lift. It's not my favorite setup, but it's going to get there. When I reset this machine again, I'm going to go ahead and go with a different route on how I do it and use a proper 3/4, which again, when I got this machine, there were no instructions. There was just, hey, here's the oil you need and good luck. And if you're a hobbyist and you never have set one of these machines up, it can get really nasty real quick if one of these machines falls, or one of these posts fall, or both of them fall, and it can damage your car, customer's car, or anybody else's car. So just a heads up, that's my only complaint, is the fact that I made an error. It's not K-Tool, it's not anything they did, besides lack of instructions with the lift. When you set it up, I mean, I don't have the greatest room. I mean, this is an 8-foot ceiling. I don't know, whatever, we'll go with 7 foot maybe. 7 foot, and whatever. You know what, it don't matter. But if you have a regular rail system, mine has the springs, which I've measured. I have enough room to convert this to the coil style, which has the rod all the way. I'm going to buy the side mounted bar for this, or the side mounted like motor for this. That way you get an extra hole, like, I don't know, 10 inches high. But it gives you a lot of room, because beforehand, like, we still got the transmission out of Mike's car. If you do have a car that is normally like, you want to put it on lift and want to work on it, some cribbing might actually be one of those things you build, and one of those things I'm going to probably end up building, especially for the 34 and the 32 and maybe the Safiro, because they're all about the same height. And it'd be really nice to not have to have this on the lift all the time. So cribbing really comes in handy. I'll probably figure out other ways to mount stuff, but over the next couple of months, this is the first bay that's going to be remodeled. It's one of the primary reasons why I'm going to be staying in my home, as well as the cost of building another home is getting ridiculous, including the cost of building my shop, which it's been going up and up and up every 2 weeks when I go to check. So putting a hold on the shop for the time being. But we've done some work here at the house. I say we. I guess I'm French, so we'll just go with I'm French now. But Mike's car is going to be one of the first ones in queue, as well as Brandon's car. Brandon's car is actually about to go back up on stands. I'm going to move the radiator forward enough where we can actually run a clutch fan, which it needs it. It really needs it. I hate the fact that we've been battling an overheating issue with this car for so long, and it's just been here too long. So with it being the next car that's going to be completed, there's a lot of videos that are on the table for us to do, a lot of adventures to go on. I really feel bad for not doing as many videos. I've had a lot of stuff going on with my personal life that really doesn't matter now. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Feel free to drop a comment, like, share, subscribe. And until next time, if you guys need parts, let me add that in there. Hit up skipbillies.com. If there's a part that is not listed for your Skyline or Juke or whatever that I have, feel free to reach out. Drop me a DM. Drop me a comment. Look me up on Facebook. Look up the business. Let me know what I can do for you to help you get your any machine, drift car, truck, diesel, whatever you've got back on the road. Let me help you get those deals and get your car back on the road. Till next time, though, peace.